Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So today we're talking about data tables 3 and 4, after having off for a couple of weeks. I hope you guys didn't forget everything that you learned. So I think I don't know, I guess it's like before I left, we talked about the data table organization, how important it is to be organized. Setting up your team, who's going to be working on the data tables, which tables are they working on, and kind of having like a stakeholders meeting to kick off things. And then also we went through data tables. I like to say data tables 2 and 1, because data table 2 is all about your faculty members, which is really your starting point with your grant. You have to know who you're appointing. If you don't, you can't, there's not much you can do. So gathering those mentor records for table 2 and research interests, and then table 1, which is your departmental and your departmental program counts. So how many faculty are in each department, and then how many faculty that are participating in each grant, and count numbers for pre-docs and postdocs. So all of these prior PowerPoints and videos are on my website. So if you have any problems accessing that, let me know. But it's all there for you. So today we're going to go over tables 3 and 4. Going to be going over so table 3 is all of the other training grants that basically are on the campus. So it says federal institutional research training grants. So this could technically include like NSF or DoD. I know there's another one. There's CIRM. I think that's not federal, so CIRM wouldn't be in there. But there are other grants on the campus. Now I know we do have a list of those on the ucsd.edu website, the DoD and the NSFs, but I personally just, my forte is the NIH grants. So if you see my table 3 list, which is all of the NIH training grants listed on the campus. So basically the institution, the NIH wants to see what other fund sources are available for your training faculty. And they want to know like how many other programs we have on our campus. So for instance, and I'm going to pick on Salk here because we have a Salk person here. So Salk, I think you guys have what, 3 training grants these days?
Just 2 and 1 in the works.
Oh, okay. So 2. I'm preempting you. I'm thinking you already have that 3rd one. So you have 2, right? And so looking at UCSD.
No, we have 1.
You
One
only have
and 1 in the works.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, regardless. So at UCSD, we have almost 70 training grants. So there tends to be a lot of overlap within the training programs. And so that's one thing that the NIH will look at to see if there's too much overlap. If we have other programs at UCSD that are similar, why would they want to go ahead and fund a new program? Because you already have a program like that on campus. So the overlap is actually really important. And this should kind of go into your strategic planning of what faculty you want. So if there's too much overlap, you may want to take that person off. I know we did a couple cancer training grants, and because the cancer center community is rather, small. I mean, I shouldn't say small, but it's very specific. There was a lot of overlap between the training grants, and so you had to make them very distinct, project oriented. The training programs were very distinct, so you really had to make a case for it. So anyway, this is something that the NIH likes to look at, and again, like I said, that they want to assess the institutional environment, like what's the training environment. And then they determine how many training positions are to be awarded. And you're going to propose for a certain amount of, you want 10 slots or 5 slots or whatever, but they will decide based on your this table 3 actually how many will be awarded. And then again, this is all, but the PI needs to go in there based on your information and summarize all of this information in the background section of the program plan, and then also call out like how your grant is innovative and different than the other training grants on the campus. So for like someone like Salk, you have a very limited amount of, I guess, a lot less faculty. It's just a smaller scale, right? So there might be a lot of overlap or there might not be. So between the two training grants. So I just like to run through the table and show you exactly what the table looks like. Basically the full grant title will be going here. The award number. So I always include the T32. Now, if it has a 5 in front of it or a 1 or a 2, I don't include that because that's just basically that just says whether it's a new grant, a continuing, or renewal. So I always usually leave that off, but I do put the T32 and then I put the institute, the CA for cancer, and then the serial number and then the dash what year it's in. The project period should be inception to date, so it should be in the entire project period in just the month year format. The PD or PI, a lot of times there's 2 project directors or co-project director, so I would go ahead and list both of them here. And then Ava, this is what you had asked about just earlier. So then you would go ahead and list the number of postdoc positions on that bioimmunotherapy training grant, and then how many postdoc positions and short-term positions. So for this particular grant, you can see this is just strictly a pre-doc training program. And then they have a total amount of faculty. There's 25 faculty listed on that training grant. And then in parentheses, you can see there is the 6 or the 2, whichever you prefer to look at. Those are the 6 faculty that are overlapping. So they are on the bioimmunotherapy training grant, but then they're also being listed on the training grant that you're proposing. So you have to distinguish there in the parentheses there. So this table is actually relatively easy. I like to say it's more just busy work for you, but I do have a list of all of the overlapping faculty and all the grants on the campus. So I'm going to pull this up. Can you guys see my Excel spreadsheet?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So I have a list here of all of the training grants. This is just kind of the raw data, all the training grants on the campus and all of the faculty on those grants. And so I put them in a pivot table. And so then what you can do is you can just go in here and select, okay, I have Greg Ahrens and I have Asiv and I have Romy and I'll pick a couple of other ones here. Let's see, Sarah Banks, Matthew Banghart. So these are all the faculty I'm going to be saying are on my training grant. So you are going to have to list all of these grants in table 3, and then you're going to need to compare that to, you're going to need to put that data in table 3. So remember, I was just saying that you're going to list, like, so the advanced data analytics, there's 6 pre-doc positions here. So you can see Greg Ahrens is going to be the only overlapping faculty here. Sometimes, obviously this is a very short list here, but you could see that there be several overlapping faculty on one. So then you can see, okay, this pathways, you're going to list that one has 24 slots. And then if you go to the next tab, remember it said you have to list the amount of participating faculty. So for that PIBS grant, which is pathways, they have 86 faculty members. So going back to this, just to show you, this would be 86, and then depending on how many faculty you had, you would save 1 or 2, and then you would list the faculty names. And that one, I believe, was 25 or 24 pre-doc slots. So that's basically how you would do it. Now it's not the like cleanest system to use, but it works. I'd love to say that we could automate this someday, but we still haven't. But so basically that's what you have to do. You kind of have to, like I said, the majority of the legwork is done for you. You just have to go ahead and plug in all your participating faculty here, and then, you know, take this data and translate it into the data table. Again, this is all on my website, the overlapping faculty. I also have a list, always have a list of all just the current training grants, all 70 or 69 of them, whatever it is right now. But then there's that huge overlapping faculty list. So what I want to show you is how it looks like an extract. And if you recall, like extract is not, it's not mandatory for your renewals. But I always recommend it, even though it's not the most perfect system. I still recommend it to for people to use it. So I like to go ahead and show you how you do that. So if you go into extract, you go in under your PI, assuming you've already created the RTD, whether it's a renewal or new. You go in under this training support and summary. And then you're going to see a couple of different options there. Now, these summary statistics will be auto-populated. And then you're going to go into institutional training support detail. And you can go ahead and add in your training grant. So you have to go in there, do a search, and add in each training grant separately. I know it seems kind of like I said, it's busy work, but you have the information, which is, as you know, a lot of times you don't have the information for the data table. So that's kind of half the battle. So you go ahead and search in here. So say if I'm looking for, look up our PI, Betsy Comavez, and she's an NIGMS. Go ahead and click this little plus button, and then we'll add in this training grant. So I don't know if you recognize, maybe since the last time you were in extract, they have updated the system. I think that was back in like September, maybe. They updated it. It looks slightly different than it used to, just a little bit of a cosmetic changes. And then you can go ahead and now you have to go in into the training grant and click on it. And then you're going to have to add in how many pre-doc positions there are, postdoc, a number of faculty are in there. And then you'll have to go in and add in your overlapping faculty. So you'll go ahead and add in your faculty. And when you pull up all their names, you could just go ahead and click that plus sign and add each one. Now, just one of the quirky things about the overlapping faculty, it's not in alphabetical order. I don't know why, but it just isn't. So if you have a huge list, 85 people on your list, it can be a little cumbersome to, but it's not the end of the world. So this question comes up a lot. Are only T32s listed in table 3? No. We have other institutional training programs that they want to see, like the short-term training programs, the summer programs, the T15. They also like to look at our 25s, our K12s, our TL1. So all of these mechanisms need to be listed, and those are all on my my spreadsheet. So but those should all be listed. Now, the career development ones, interesting enough, and the R25s, like those don't necessarily have an exact amount of slots. So usually, and I'll just go back here really quick to show you, on the table, I'm going way back here. Sometimes I'll just list 0, 0, 0, but then the reviewers will see, okay, this is an R25. It doesn't necessarily, sometimes, the trainee slots or the faculty slots, it varies from year to year. So I find it's okay to leave these at 0, and you may want to put an asterisk. You could do a, after the fact asterisk or something saying, some sort of little annotation about that. But for generally speaking, all the information will be in that spreadsheet. Okay. So one thing to remember when I know one of the mistakes that I made when I first started working on this table 3 was I added every single training grant, all 70 training grants to this table, and that was just incorrect. I just read the instructions incorrectly. You only add the training grants where there's overlap in faculty. So basically, if there's overlap in science or the training programs, so those are the only ones you add. Everything else is irrelevant. And always just make sure when you have your spreadsheet up, what I do is I would go ahead and add in my faculty names into that spreadsheet, like as a mock-up, and then you just compare the grant that you're working on with all the other training grants on the campus. So this really, this is one of those things that when you're emailing your faculty, you shouldn't have to ask them what other training grants are you on. This is something we already know. They don't have to tell us. So I update my website, or I update the spreadsheet a couple times a year. I mean, usually once the grant is submitted and it's accepted, that person's usually going to be on that listed as participating faculty for the next 5 years. When it gets renewed or we have a new grant, I always annotate that list. But there's sometimes when you're submitting an RPPR and you're adding new faculty, I may not be able to catch every single one of them, but for the majority, I would say this is probably like 99% updated. Any questions on table 3? Okay, so no, okay, I'll go on to data table 4 then. So data table 4 is basically all your research support for your faculty members. So this is not looking at other trainee support. So say if your faculty member has a training grant, that would not be listed here because that's for training purposes. You're just listing other research support. And it just wants to show the strength of the researcher at UCSD. So if you are putting in, like for an example, you're putting in a cancer training grant, they want to see that your participating faculty have NCI funding, whether it's an R01, R21, but they want to see that they have, and I usually like to see the R01 funding, but just any other type of cancer research grants. And then of course the availability of funds, but available to the trainees. If they are not on the training grant, then are they able to go on another fund source? And then this is just kind of what I already just said, the appropriateness of the participating faculty in terms of their active research support. So if you're adding someone on here that has, only does, I don't know, glycosciences, and you're putting them on a training grant, cancer training grant has nothing to do with it, but he's really well funded, but none of those funds are going to cancer research. They're going to kind of think, well, why is this person, being put on here? It could be, a collaborative thing, but I've seen some faculty just, they add on participating faculty simply just because the person's well funded. And so it's part of the game, right? They want to boost their numbers. And so they'll say, oh, let's put this person on there. They've got, 10 R01s. Yeah, but they're probably really never going to be a participating faculty member on there. So, it's just one of those kind of the games you play, or the strategy you play behind it. Again, all this information that you're collecting, the PI is going to need to summarize in the data plan and talk about the number of the average direct costs per faculty member. So just going through the actual table, you're going to go ahead and list your faculty member. and the fund source. So this could be NIH, NSF, DoD, it could be foundation, FDN, it could be university funding, state funding. And then you're going to go ahead and list the full grant number. Now this one you are supposed to put in the 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 in front of the mechanism there. So I don't know why it's slightly different, but that's the instructions. I just kind of go with it. So go ahead and put in the full number there with the institute, the serial number, and what year the grant is in, and then the role on the project. So whatever their role is on the project. Now, they only want to see research support where the PI is the faculty member is a PD or PI or a project PI or project lead. You're not supposed to list co-investigator status. So if they're co-investigator on 5 grants, technically those should not be listed here. I've seen people where, maybe they don't have enough PI driven grants, and they'll, some of the faculty said, well, just list their co-I. You're really not supposed to do that. Or they just they're just trying to boost their numbers. So it's just one of those things, your PI could run the chance of getting dinged in, when it comes up for council, they could ding you on that. So I personally just like to, my motto is, I don't want the PI to get rejected on his training grant based on my tables. It could be on the science, it could be on the training portion of the program plan, but I don't want I don't want them to get withdrawn or not funded because I didn't read the instructions correctly. So obviously list the whole grant title here, project period, which is in that month format, and then the current year direct costs. So this is one thing that you'll see as you're collecting this data. A lot of people will send you the total direct costs, and there's a reason behind that, because a lot of people don't just have a table 4 on hand. They usually have their other support. And so other support, it lists the total direct costs for the total project period. So this is listing just the annual direct costs, which are very different. So if I see a number here that's really inflated, I will definitely question it. If it says 1.2 million per year, I'm like, really? It's 1.2 direct per year? That sounds like it would be, maybe direct over 5 years, but not over 1 year. But, I've been proven wrong. Sometimes we have some really heavy hitter PIs and they have a lot of, direct costs, high direct costs per year. But it's one thing that I do recommend that you try to verify these numbers as much as possible. And then at the end, you're going to take all of your participating faculty, and say if you have 20 faculty, you're going to divide that number by 20. And then it's going to say there's an average of 282,000 per faculty member, which is, the sample is really bad because that's not very strong. Usually it, runs in the $700,000-800,000 million mark, usually, but, so again, going back to extract, not mandatory, but I do recommend it. So the cool thing, this is one of the cool features of extract, is once you put in that faculty member's name, it will automatically pull in all the NIH funding from whatever's in Reporter, NIH Reporter, which is great, right? However, sometimes the dollar amounts are not correct, because it will list, maybe they're the lead PI on a P30 and it lists all of the P30 cores on there of the direct costs. Well, that's not correct. That's not exactly what that particular PI is receiving. That could be, that amount over 10 PIs or 5 PIs. So unfortunately, it's not editable in extract. So this is one of those things, like, this is generated from their system. Do you just leave it? How much of a bottom line difference is it going to make? Or once you finalize your PDF, once you're done with all your tables, you could go in there and edit those amounts. Then you're going to have to go ahead and recalculate and do a different amount in there. So it's kind of up to you, how you want to do that. Generally speaking, this only happens like with the big, P30s or U54 grants, but I do see that. So I don't know how many people use NIH Reporter. I use it all the time. It's just one of my bookmarks and one of my go-tos. I love this website, and it's great for verifying costs. So if you, for whatever reason, you weren't using Extract, you could just go in there and look, do a quick search on someone. I just put in Davey Smith, who is one of our researchers. Look under the active projects, look up at UC San Diego. He could be multiple institutions, but I know for this one, he's just at UCSD. And then it would pull up all of his funding. And if you go ahead and drill down on the serial number there, you can see all the detail behind there. You can see, okay, this is Davey Smith. This is when the project starts and ends. And then there's the annual direct costs for FY 2023. So it gives you a lot of information right there. And then the good thing about NIH Reporter is also it's going to break out all the cores. So if you want to know exactly how much like that person's getting, there's also at UCSD, we have the BAHA, the Business Analytics Hub, the BA reports, as I like to call them. And there is a report in here. You can use in Oracle, the current awards and pending proposals. You can go in here and run this report. I don't think it's the best report. I personally use an internal mechanism in the RS Core. We have other reports that are similar to this, but they're a little bit more detailed. But this one isn't bad. It lists the current and pending support. And so you could glean all the information you need off of here, your sponsor number, your title. The problem is when you get to direct costs, that's the direct cost for the total project period. So you would need to go in there and figure out, okay, that's a 3-year grant. Divided by 600,000, that's really 200,000 per year. So there's no one report that actually has all the information you need. When you're sending out your emails, you're asking for information, sometimes I just tell people, just send me, your other support, and then, I'll maybe try to go and verify amounts myself, or look in this in Oracle or RS Core, and if not, then I'll follow up with them and say, what's your exact direct cost per year? There's just, it's just unfortunate. It's just the way that the systems are. We don't have one system that can just run a report. You have to go to several different places to get data. So I'd like to put some questions out there. Does table 4 include pending support? Someone can just write in a chat maybe, or I can answer it myself, but I feel like anyone? Does table 4 include pending support? Okay, now I can't get to the chat. Where's my chat? Oh, good. No, you guys did good. Okay, so no. Should co-PI funding be included for participating faculty? No. Good job. You guys are awesome. If a faculty member, I just like to put on here, is like a co-PI, we don't really use that term much anymore, right? It's an MPI of a multi-PI award, a large award where there's a core, you could put project lead, but otherwise, no. Can you list grants and a no-cost extension? Nope. Correct. It used to be you could. I mean, I think that was a long time ago, but now it says explicitly in the instructions, no. Also, another one to remember here is supplements. If you have an NIH grant that starts with a 3 supplement, supplements are not supposed to be listed here. Training awards should not be listed, like a T32, an R25. Joanne Trejo is a very great example. She's got, I don't know, 5 R25s, and then she might have 1 R01, run research grant. So none of her R25s would be able to be listed in table 4, just her research support. Another question that I don't have on here is clinical trials. So, I've seen some groups put clinical trials, they list the clinical trials in table 4. They consider that research support, which, it is. The hard part with listing a clinical trial is trying to figure out what the annual direct costs are, because that all depends on how many people are in the trial. So that's kind of a gamble, but I've seen it. I know the National Training Group, Community of Practice Group, this came up there, and I know it was just kind of a gray area. Some people put it and some people don't. Sometimes it just kind of depends on the grant. If you have, I was like, keep going back to the Cancer Center training grants, but they do so many clinical trials and they don't necessarily have a lot of R01 funding. So in that case, I did list all of the clinical trials because it added a lot of more weight and depth to the numbers. But it's kind of up to your PI, and you can ask them. I mean, it really just depends on what your scope is on your subject, your training program. Here's another question: should startup funds and other discretionary research funds be included, or should it only be sponsored projects? Yes. Correct. All funds that are available for research. Oh, Lisa, I'd like to hear that one. Depends. What does that mean?
Well, what if you have an institutional not institutional source of support? Let's say you have a sponsored agreement that qualifies as other support.
Do you have an example of that? Do you mean like because you guys call them something different, I think, over at SALT. What would be an example of that?
If it's truly discretionary, no. If it's truly, you can spend this for whatever you want, and we don't want any reports, and then that's a gift.
Yeah.
If there's reports, so they're, we're kind of getting into some gray area here about what's a grant. Startup funds, no.
So you don't list startup funds?
No.
So no, we would, because but see, I think SALT, and if people don't know on the call that Lisa's from SALT, but our startup funds package at UCSD, a lot of it is used for research support. It might be different at SALT.
Wait, but NIH says in other support that you don't have to include startup.
And other support, but on table 4, though, you can still list your.
Oh, right.
You can still list your.
You're the queen. You're the training grant queen. I should always.
No. You know what? See that, but actually, you bring up a great point, because people get confused that other support instructions versus table 4, they are slightly different, right? So yeah, it's so easy to fall into that. I mean, I do it myself. But yeah, so you can definitely list startup funds, any discretionary fund source, foundation funds, anything that is used for research support.
Here's a question, Jill. Do you take the PI's word on how much their startup funds are, or do you have a reliable source?
I always try to verify my numbers. I wouldn't listen.
I know you. I'm just making the point. I'm making the point.
Yeah. No. I try to verify everything I can, but and usually, you're going to be able to find some money trail for that number, and it may be like, hey, we gave you 250,000 for a blank check for whatever, not a blank check, 250,000. So let's see how far that goes. It just kind of depends, but yeah, generally speaking, I always try to verify these numbers.
What was the weird one?
Gonna speak.
Yeah, well, I'm going to ask. What was the weird one that you messaged me about the other day? STT. I think you said it was
STTR.
STTR. It's a small business grant.
Right.
So then I thought about that later, and then I realized it was not this PI works with a startup company, and so the grant was actually given to that company. through the
Ah,
company. It wasn't through UCSD.
and it
And then
wasn't to
I
him.
realized it probably was automatically filtered out of extract for that
I
reason.
didn't see it. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I thought about it and I was like, yeah, it's probably not considered like research funding. I don't know. It's more like
Yeah.
R&D or something.
That was weird
Anyway,
though.
yeah, I'd never seen a STTR. What was it? SBA?
STTR.
All
Or
technology
SBIR,
transfer.
SBIR.
SBI. Yeah, yeah. So it was
Something.
so yeah, that was kind of a weird one. Can a subaward be listed in table 4? Yes, I put yes. And then of course you have to figure out, you could go out to NIH Reporter, but it might just list the main institution and not your institution, right? So
Right.
you can get a lot of your information off a reporter, but then you're going to have to figure out what exactly was their annual direct costs for that.
Yeah, not only that, but it often doesn't pull directly into the federal grants portion. You often have to
You have to add it
nearly
in.
always have to manually add it, and then it pops up as like Fed Other or something like that, which
Mhm.
gives PIs the quicks. So then you have to go back in and manually edit the
Yeah, are
PDF.
you sick, Holly? I'm sorry.
I am so many things right now. Yeah.
Oh, this this grant's driving you crazy. So yes, sub awards can definitely be listed. If I would, if you under the prod, then the role you could put like there's a couple. It's kind of vague there. You could put the NPI or PI, or project lead. I mean, it kind of depends. They're the PI of the project at UCSD, but they're not the total PI. So in extract, you go ahead and go under participating faculty, and this is where you would add in the research support. So if it's NIH driven and in reporter, as soon as you put in their name and you add their faculty name to the RTD, this is going to show up. So this is woohoo, that's great. But then they have like 4 other grants that need to be added in under this other sources of support. So you would have to go in and add in the other sources of support. And it's kind of like a funky system. You have to go in there and search first to see if it's there. So you could go ahead and put your project title in. Oh, look, it comes up. Oh, wait, there's 3 of them with that same name. So you could, figure out which one is yours, add it in there, or maybe none of them are. Go ahead and then create a fund source. And then you're going to have to decide, is it a foundational grant? Is it an other federal? So you can't put NIH here because supposedly, according to them, all your NIH has already been listed. So if it was like an NIH subaward, I would go ahead and put other federal. And then you could, again, if you wanted to make an after the fact, annotation later, you could change it to NIH or, whatever. Some PIs care, some don't. So one thing I've noticed, if you find your grant in there, but it has the wrong dates, you could go into institutional data. So this is where you would go if you're like for you have a PI started a new training grant. This is where their RTD would be. If you have a renewal, it would be here, or an RPPR. But then there's also institutional data and persons. You could just go in into the institutional data and update that fund source. And so I'll use that a lot and update, dates or whatever, and then it will reflect correctly on your RTD. So a couple more questions because I love a good quiz, like a good spreadsheet. Let's go over this again. It's okay to list pending awards in table 4. No. And you'd be surprised how many people like want to squeal those in there. And I'm like, no, you can't do it. In the last column, you list the total project costs. Everyone's going to
Annual direct.
Annual direct, exactly. I can run a query in NIH Reporter to find the direct costs of any NIH grant. Yes. I don't know if a lot of people use Reporter, but I love it. So I should list the entire project period of the grant. True. Helping you guys out there. Table 4 provides information on the strength of the research environment. So that's correct. You're listing all of your research support for that particular faculty member. And then this is one that catches people up. Other support is the exact same as table 4. No, because there's no effort amounts and there's no pending awards, and that lists total costs, total project costs, and ours only lists as current annual direct costs. So again, that's an easy one to confuse. Is the people get confused, the table, they get that a lot of PIs when they're answering that email, responding to you saying, here's my other support document, which isn't quite the same, but you can get a lot of information off of that, but it's not going to be your annual direct costs. Remember, there's no COIs that are listed, and unless it's a large program project. You can list sub-awards. Gray area would be your clinical trials. That's something you would probably want to discuss with your PI. And then remember, Extract pulls in a lot of information for you, so that it can be very helpful as soon as you add in the faculty members. A lot of times what I will do before I start sending out the emails is I'll add in all my faculty to Extract, and then it automatically pulls all their NIH funding. So when I email them, I'll just say, hey, I already have your NIH listed. Can you just send me your non-NIH funding? And I'll list them for that and say, can you confirm or something like that? And sometimes, and I tell this I repeat myself a lot on this, but I do like to spoon feed my PIs. The more information you give them, the quicker they're going to respond to you. Then if you just sent them, I've seen some admins will just literally just download the table off of the NIH website and send it to them and say, can you fill this out for me with no, hand holding. It's just a more longer return rate on your emails. So next week we'll talk about tables 5 and 6. This will be on the website for today, but I want to go ahead and open it up for questions. If we don't have questions on the data tables, does anybody else have any other questions in general that you're working on? I know, Ava, did I answer all your questions, Ava?
I guess I'm still trying to grasp and understand it, because I'm still fresh and new with things like table 3 and 4. So when you have in the far right of table 3, the column that has sort of like the big number and then the smaller number in parentheses, I understand the one in parentheses refers to the list in the column over there, which also happen to be the participating faculty of this grant. But when you get the 25, is that because all the other 19 participating faculty are participating faculty of all the
So the 25 number, when that bioimmunotherapy training grant originally went in, it listed 25 participating faculty on that grant.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I just needed to hear it
and
be able to understand it. Okay.
I mean, actually, I shouldn't say when it originally went in. I mean, it could have gone in with like 23 faculty, and then every RPPR they've added, 1 faculty or something. There's you only have so many slots, right, on a training grant, and there's only going to be so many mentors you're actually going to be using, right? But for whatever reason, sometimes the PI will want to list 100 faculty. I just worked on a training grant. We had 156 faculty, and there's no way they're all going to be mentoring someone on the grant. Again, sometimes the numbers are the PI wants to inflate their numbers. Oh, you got some really big, heavy research funding PIs. Let's list them on there. They're a Nobel Prize winner. Let's list them on there. So, these numbers can be really high. I think I actually did an average one time, and I can do it again. I think on average, there's like usually 32 to 35 faculty per training grant. That's an average. But it just depends. Like I know Willa's working on the Ginsburg one, and you only have like 12 or 10 or something like that. I mean, it's really,
21.
oh, okay, so you've gone up a little bit, but that's a fairly low number. So, but
And so because there's some ebb and flow with that number, is it still best to go to your spreadsheet to get that information at its most accurate?
yeah, mine's gonna be the most accurate. I mean, from if you could, I will also send out an email list I'll email the program directors sometimes directly and say, do you have an updated list? And sometimes they've added people to the list, but for the most part, I mean, it may be off like 1 or 2 numbers occasionally for like, it might be actually 26. But if I know like for example, Lucila Ono Machado left UCSD. So then I pulled her name out of the entire list because she's obviously not going to be a mentor on training grants at UCSD anymore. So I kind of preemptively, when I know, maybe a faculty member's passed away, something like that, I will remove them. So, I mean, for the most part, I think I have pretty good data, but there's really no other way you're going to find out unless you actually went through every single RPPR and the renewal, and usually nobody else has full access to that for
Shouldn't
every
we
single
have a
train.
database?
If we had a database, yeah, that would be a thought, right? So someday, you never know.
How do we access this spreadsheet from you? Do you send it to us when we ask for it
No, it's on my website.
Access it directly.
Yeah, you should be able to just go to the website and go to reports and data. And then go to overlapping faculty, and then you should be able to just download it. Well, then here's just a regular list, but then this is really the list that you want. The one with the total amount of faculty per grant, and then the slot information, project date information, grant number information. Again, it's not the prettiest, but it gets the job done. So I was just proud of myself that I could do a pivot table. So it's as far as I can get. Anyway, any other questions?
That's the next webinar, Jill. You have to teach us how to do pivot tables.
Oh, come on, Lisa, you're much smarter than me. You could do better pivot tables than this.
I have no clue.
That is just not true. Lisa, you're like, so you guys don't know Lisa, but she's super awesome from the Salk Institute.
Oh, wow.
And I gotta tell you, so I went to happy hour with you guys, what, a couple months ago now?
Yep.
And they got like shot glasses out. We're sitting out at Bella Vista and they get the shot glasses out. And I'm like, I'm gonna go work at the Salk Institute because you guys are freaking awesome, man. And bottles of wine. Someone showed up with a bottle of bourbon, shot glasses. Here's a bottle of wine. Oh wait, here's another bottle of wine. Yeah. I'm gonna come work for you. I think that was a recruitment session, wasn't it? You're trying to recruit me, huh?
We know how to recruit people.
Yeah, that's definitely the way. UCSD has been doing it wrong all these years, I'm telling you.
And by the way, we need 2 grant administrators. Oh, did I say that?
Oh, because I think one fled to UCSD, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but do you work at work or do you?
Oh, yeah. No, that's the thing. If you work at
That's the
Salk,
part,
you have to
yeah.
work at work.
Work at work. We work at home. And
Nice.
yeah, basically we just pull weeds all day in the yard and then we get paid for it.
Oh, right. Uh-huh.
It's true.
Bill, I have a question. Do you have a second to answer a question
Sure,
about
of course,
ERA
Kelly.
Commons?
Sure.
Sorry. When I invite a trainee to set up an ERA Commons profile
Mhm.
and they tell me that they've gone in and done it, and then it gets routed to the PI, and all these little errors pop up. They haven't done gender, they haven't done, answered this question or that. Is there any way that I can view that before it gets to the PI so that the
Let's.
PI is not happy, doesn't get angry?
A PI get angry, Kelly? No, not your PIs, because your PIs are super nice. So
Fabulous. The student says, yeah, I filled out everything. And it's like, did you really? And if I can go in and see that, I don't know how. Now I have helped them through it and on a Zoom, and they have, shown me,
So
okay,
let's see if we can go in and look at a personal profile. I'm trying to, my brain is still, oops, that won't let me. My brain is a little fuzzy.
Account
still.
management,
What was that?
back to account management. There you go.
Okay, account management.
Ready.
So I guess I could put in myself, right, and see if we could. Well, no, we can't. I'm not a good example.
No,
Holly, can I use you as an example?
you should use a trainee.
Well, that's that whole privacy thing.
Oh, right.
I kind of feel like. Okay, so let's see if we can view. I don't think we can view her personal profile data.
No, but you can see
there's a way. I don't know how to do it.
you can see what they've listed for their employment and positions and so on.
Yeah.
The 2271 is the only way I know to do it, but
That's all you can see.
So, okay.
You could ask for delegations, Kelly.
yeah.
But for a trainee though?
Yeah, you can get delegations for anybody.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
you can delegate me, Jill.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, so now, Lisa is correct, of course. This is why you should go work at the Salk Institute, because they're brilliant over there. So if you saw what I just did,
no,
I went in a personal profile, and then these are all the people I have delegations for. And so I just picked, discriminately pick Jason, and then I could go ahead and view all his information.
Oh.
And if I don't have delegation for them, I'm not going to be able to view any of this.
So they would assign me as a delegate where?
So if you go into admin and then go into delegations,
They would have to do this.
they would have to do this, yeah.
But could they do it? Do they already? Can they do it right after they set up an account? Is that the time that they would do
Should be
it?
able to do that. Okay, so wait. I just hit delegations and it's not work. Oh, it's still thinking. Okay, so
The easiest
go ahead, Holly.
process that I found has been to create a step-by-step SOP of our own to give to the trainee. It says, do this step, do this step, do this step, do this step, and that's
they're going to skip some steps or just flat miss it. Everybody makes.
Well, if you include the delegation part in there.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
till just now, I never knew, I guess, that a trainee can give you delegation. I mean, I never thought about it.
That would be fabulous.
So I went in under delegations.
And here's another thing. Marisol just put a link in there, and I've never had any luck copying a link out of chat. But let me see if I can click on it and get that. Let's see, where did it go?
So I just pulled up, I guess it's not gonna.
I think that for some reason in Zoom, you can't click on the link and have it work automatically on every browser. But
Right.
if you cut and paste into an incognito, it should work.
Incognito might work. I asked IT about that this week, and they said the host has to give everybody access to do that. And I looked it up, and now I don't remember what it said, but
Mine has
let's
worked
see.
in Edge. I used the Edge browser, and I clicked, opened up the page right away.
Oh, there's delegate authority right there. Yay!
I'm gonna
Thank
take
you so much.
I know I was late. Nice to see your faces. Talk to you later.
So, yeah, so that definitely doing a delegations, or just jumping on a Zoom with the
Yeah.
them and say,
Well-
hey, let me walk you through it, kind of walk you through the personal profile, because
Well,
that's
now, go ahead.
but
I was able to copy that from the Zoom chat. Yay. So that's helpful. Thank you very much. Yay. That helps a lot. Okay, now I've got to go attend an open enrollment.
I haven't even thought about that, Kelly. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and they're having I think this is Delta Dental I'm watching now, and then or maybe this is Fidelity. I can't keep it straight.
I just know that the premiums are going up, so
Yeah.
I guess it's the sign of the times. So
Yeah, can't be surprised. Everything else
Yeah.
is going up, so that's going up also. But thank you so much, Jill. I always
my
learn a
pleasure.
lot, and I always feel very reassured knowing there's a community.
Absolutely. It's actually a therapy group, Kelly. It's not a community. It's a therapy group.
We need to get T-shirts.
Yeah, and this is anonymous, Anyway, my name is Jill. So anybody else have questions, or we're at 12:58. Bye, Kelly. Have a good week.
Thanks. Bye.
A good weekend. Huh? It's Friday, basically.
For you.
Are you off tomorrow?
No.
What? Now you're not going to recruit people that way, Lisa. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we don't get the state holidays.
Oh, ouch. But happy hour drinks. When are you doing that again?
Oh, well, let's figure something out.
Where's Leona when we needed her? And
Right?
and what's my friend Carol over here that lives in Vista?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had one of my, she's gone now. Allison was on too. She's from Salk too.
Oh, okay. I guess I didn't realize. Maybe I didn't realize that. So, okay.
Oh, good.
I just got back from Kenya. All my synapses are not firing still, so
Nice.
still my little bit of jet lag.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see your little picture, one of your pictures in the background. That's cool.
Oh yeah, up there.
Yeah.
Oh wait, so let me show you a picture really quick from this. Here, let me stop recording because
Probably a good idea.
Okay. Stop recording.